Hello everyone, welcome to my update US gossip channel. Shocking twist, Ronnie is Monica's sister, yet every letter was a lie. The real-life sister of Monica Quartermaine is Ronnie Bard. They were separated as children and placed in foster care. They reconnected earlier this year and have been writing to each other ever since, up until Monica's sudden death. Fans are suspicious that Ronnie's story is not as it seems, and many are coming to the conclusion that Ronnie is running some kind of con because they have not had the opportunity to connect in person or even by phone throughout the year. After all, Monica left her a substantial inheritance in her will, which included nearly the entire Quartermaine estate. While Tracy Quartermaine is brimming with fury, the rest of the family appears to be welcoming Ronnie with open arms, unafraid that she could kick them out on their rears at any moment. A true sisterhood. Ronnie shared a moving story about her time growing up with Monica and the time they separated, which caused them to take very different paths in life. They were raised by two different families in different states. However, it sounds as though they ultimately came together, reconciled their shared trauma, and shared stories of where their lives had taken them and how much they adored being in each other's lives to the fullest. But why did it never appear beyond a few back-and-forth letters? Why not always call each other to hear each other's voices or to tell family about the news? Could it be because both of them were being played? According to GH spoilers, there was interference running. It's possible that Drew took the initiative to contact Ronnie while posing as Monica after he was exiled from Monica's life and the Quartermaine property. If that is the case, then it is possible that he was the one who intercepted her mail. Also, it's possible that he was writing his own responses to Ronnie's questions. If Monica wasn't aware of it, could it be that Drew and Ronnie were playing a sick game of twisted emotions all the time? At least Ronnie was. Is it possible that Monica was clueless? Additionally, some fans are pondering the possibility that Drew staged everything, including his mother's part in it. Could the letters to and from Ronnie have taken place without Monica's involvement? Obviously. So, is it possible that she was cut out of the equation and not even receiving tampered letters from Drew? It doesn't seem likely because it looks like Monica did go to Edward Quartermaine's lawyer and have her will rewritten to remove Drew from it and name Ronnie as the mansion and its grounds benefactor. So, for now, we think Monica believed she truly was developing a new relationship with her long-lost sister, and in some ways she was. However, it stands to reason that fans are suspicious of Ronnie's true situation given the possibility of doctoring in each letter received and the similarity in each letter sent. Ronnie vs. Tracy, Jordan threatened, and Lulu squirms. Tracy Quartermaine and Veronica Ronnie Bard lose control. Jordan Ashford is threatened by Drew Kane. Additionally, Lulu Spencer must provide Sonny Corinthos with explanations. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the ABC soap opera. Tracy Quartermaine vs. Ronnie Bard. Let's begin with Ronnie. The newcomer has quickly formed alliances with the family of Quartermaine. Well, with Tracy the exception. The silver-haired woman loses her cool and blows up at Ronnie. Sitting in the living room, Ronnie stays seated and her face remains very calm. In the meantime, Tracy loses control and yells at Ronnie that she is con artist. Tracy will undoubtedly be labeled paranoid and denied by Ronnie. However, Tracy might be onto something. Even though Ronnie seems nice and helpful, I don't know if I should believe her story. Both the will and the timing were too coincidental. Michael Corinthos' new bond. Over with Michael Corinthos, he will end up opening up to Ronnie. They clearly bond, though it's unclear what they talk about. If he didn't feel at ease, Michael wouldn't talk to her. Tracy will, however, face a significant challenge as a result of this. The discoveries of Curtis Ashford. The preview clip also features Michael updating Curtis, as revealed by the General Hospital spoilers for Friday, October 10th. Curtis hears from the young man that Monica Quartermaine was the one who brought Ronnie to them at the right time. Curtis might be glad for Michael, but he might also warn him. Nobody knows the real story about Ronnie, so Michael and everyone else needs to proceed with caution. The reporter's media targeting of Michael will be scrutinized by the mob boss. Drew threatens Jordan. Jordan is required to take action on his behalf by the congressman in order to prevent Curtis from going to prison. We also know from the written spoilers that Willow Tate updates Drew, in addition to the preview clip. While Michael did extend an offer to Willow, Drew might claim it's not good enough. However, Drew being out of Willow's life is a condition. So, I wonder if Drew will let Willow down with this. Michael Corinthos had spent his entire life surrounded by secrets, lies, and bloodlines tangled tighter than any web of deceit Port Charles had ever seen, but nothing could have prepared him for the truth he was about to uncover, the terrible secret that Ronnie had buried deep, a secret that would shake the very core of his family's already fragile foundation. It began, as most storms do, with whispers and a feeling that something wasn't right. Michael had noticed Ronnie's behavior changing weeks earlier, the nervous glances, the missed calls, the constant excuses about late-night meetings with people she refused to name. He'd brushed it off at first, chalking it up to the tension that had swept through town after Jason's latest investigation into Sonny's old enemies resurfaced, but when Dante quietly warned Michael that someone close to them had been leaking information about the Corinthos family, Michael's instincts kicked into overdrive. He'd learned the hard way never to underestimate betrayal. He'd watched it tear his mother, Carly, apart too many times. So, when Dante told him that all clues pointed towards someone inside, Michael's gut twisted, and Ronnie's name immediately surfaced in his mind. At first, it didn't make sense. Ronnie had been so deeply ingrained in their world, always loyal, always present when things went sideways. She'd been there when Willow fell ill, when Sonny went missing, when Nina tried to destroy what little peace the family had left. She had cried with them, fought for them, and swore she was one of them. But loyalty in Port Charles had a short shelf life, and Michael had seen enough masks slip to know that even the most trustworthy faces could hide the darkest motives. Still, nothing could justify the unease that consumed him when he started digging, pulling phone records, tracing her movements, calling in a favor from Spinelli to tap into data trails she thought she'd erased. What he found chilled him. Ronnie had been meeting with someone under a false name, transferring money through offshore accounts tied to a company that once belonged to one of Sonny's deadliest enemies, a name that should have stayed buried, Lorenzo Alcazar. The records suggested she'd not only been in contact with Alcazar's surviving associates but had also been funneling information about Michael's business dealings at Aurora Media, and Sonny's financial recovery, directly to them. But even as that revelation burned through him like acid, the real horror was still waiting to unfold. Michael wanted to believe it was greed or desperation driving her. He could forgive almost anything but betrayal against his father, not after all Sonny had endured to protect his family. Yet as he watched Ronnie that evening at the Metro Court, smiling tightly across the room, her hand trembling slightly as she sipped her drink, he couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story. Dante, ever the detective and Michael's uneasy ally, agreed to dig deeper. He followed leads that led him straight into a tangle of old police files, sealed adoption papers, and a death certificate that didn't make sense. The pieces didn't fit until one night, when Michael followed Ronnie to an abandoned safe house near the docks, a place once used by the mob during Sonny's old wars. He watched from the shadows as she unlocked the door, stepped inside, and turned on a small lamp. On the table lay a stack of photographs, documents, and a birth certificate so old the ink had faded to sepia. When Michael quietly pushed the door open, his heart stopped. There, right in front of him, was a photo of baby Michael, the same one that had once hung in the Corinthos home, alongside another infant, a girl. And in scrawled handwriting on the back were the words, twins. Born minutes apart. The world tilted. Michael couldn't breathe. He stepped closer, staring at Ronnie as she froze, her face pale as death. "What is this?" he demanded, his voice rough, trembling with the weight of years of family secrets finally cracking open. Ronnie's lips quivered, but her eyes were wild with something between guilt and terror. "You weren't supposed to find out," she whispered. "Not like this." But Michael was done being handled, done being lied to. He grabbed the papers, flipping through them until the truth screamed from the page, hospital records showing Carly's childbirth in a private wing, attended by a Dr. Rachel Berlin, who had been dismissed from General Hospital shortly after for falsifying medical records. The infant girl listed under Baby B had been reported stillborn, except she wasn't. Ronnie had been adopted through a private intermediary connected to that same doctor. And there it was, The DNA test Ronnie had hidden, confirming what the papers implied. Ronnie was Michael's twin sister. Michael staggered back, shaking his head, memories flashing through his mind like lightning, all the times Ronnie had hovered too close, been too protective, the strange familiarity he'd never understood. No, he breathed. This can't be real. Ronnie broke then, tears spilling as she stepped toward him. It's real, she said, her voice breaking. I didn't know until last year. I found the papers when I was cleaning out the old house in Queens. I wanted to tell you, Michael, but I couldn't. Not after I found out what happened, what Sonny did to keep me away. Her words hit him like a bullet. Sonny? His father? Ronnie took a shuddering breath, then said the words that would change everything. He knew.